Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce to some, reintroduce to others, our man, Mr. Sean Fox from 97.7 in North Louisiana. Is that fair to say? Is it fair to say North Louisiana, or do I need to be specific? Can't hear you, Sean.
Y'all hear me? There. Can y'all hear
There
me?
we go. There we go.
Listen, guys, I gotta apologize. I'm in a spare room. I got a bunch of cheerleaders running around my house. My daughter, they might walk in, and I'm trying to find the quietest place Western in a spare room. So I apologize. What's
All
up?
right. All right, Sean, quick question.
Yes.
Or not even a question. Blink twice if you need to send help. On the way. Gotcha. But hey, first off, welcome.
See what I mean?
To the Olden Boot.
Hey guys, what took y'all so long?
Hey, you know,
27. Come on. Proud of y'all's success, though, man. It's awesome. Glad to see.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
I do want to address some. My father has stepped in. Hey, Daddy. And he says, "Where did Daniel get those glasses? He's looking studious."
He got it from Warby Parker.
Looks to be deceiving.
He said looks can be deceiving, boy.
Wow.
Love it.
But let me throw this up here. If you have any questions, fire them in for Sean. At hashtag Ask Sean. But Sean, first off, Sean, let me say this. You gave great advice. We talked to you the night before me and Aunt went to.
Can y'all hear me? I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you good? Yeah, you're good. Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all perfectly. Just making sure y'all can hear me.
Okay.
Hour over here. Okay, sorry.
No problem. Before we went to SWAT meeting the night before, you talked to me and Aunt, and you kind of gave us some great advice.
Yes. You didn't listen to any of it.
I listened to it. I didn't use any of it because the first thing, I went. I was calling everybody. I was like kid in the candy store.
Hey, I'm not. We was in the. We walked around one good time, and then we were there 5-10 minutes, and Dion, Travis son, and Shador walk in, and I immediately pulled out my phone camera and started taking video like straight fanboy mode. It's Deion Sanders, man. You know what I mean?
Listen, I got a Deion Sanders story for you. Y'all ready?
Go ahead.
NBA All-Star game, first time it's in New Orleans. I'm doing the same thing y'all are doing, right? Even though I've been to media for a while, I was like, okay, I'm walking around in the bowels of the New Orleans arena, and everywhere I pass is NBA All-Stars, celebrities. And I was going up to the, I think this was probably the day, but maybe the Friday, all the dunk contests and all that stuff about to happen that night. So this was like picture day and all these things. So there's nobody else in the arena but media and these guys. And I get on an elevator with Deion Sanders and Dominique Wilkins. And I'm just like,
I would have been fangirl, bro.
Not like the other. And I was doing everything in my power not to mark out at the time. But man, listen, the first time you experience these things, it's awesome. Listen, I've done it 20 years now. So I mean that's the difference. But no, man, we got into these. You're doing this podcast because you're a fan. Like no matter how long I've done what I've done, I got into this because I'm a fan. I like y'all heard y'all representing 318. Appreciate that.
Yes,
now,
sir. Baby.
The 318 pays me, but the 504 is where I'm from. So listen, I got into this because I grew up listening to Buddy D down in New Orleans. I'd go to bed listening to Saints talk, and this is when the Saints were freaking terrible. But I was like, how cool would it be to talk about my favorite team for a living?
Yeah.
And that's what got me into this. Yes, I try to put my biases aside when I'm on the air, but I've never sit in a press box ever for a game because I'm a fan, man. Like you're gonna tell me I'm gonna go see the Saints and not cheer? You're gonna tell me I'm gonna go to LSU game and not cheer? When I'm on the air, I'll be a professional, but I'm still a fan. That's why I got into this.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. I feel that.
All right, we got a little pettiness from the producer here. Ask Sean, who cooks better, the 985 or the 318?
Uh-oh. Well, he said 504, right?
He was raised in the 504.
Okay, can you hear us? I don't
No
think.
technical
Sean, can you
difficulty.
hear us?
Nah,
No, he can't hear us. Uh-oh, he's
We can come
frozen.
back to him. We can come back to him.
All right.
Hey,
give me a
but
second.
look, while he doing that,
Mhm. All right, hold
So
on. Here we
let-
go. Let's
okay, you ready
back
to go?
up. Let's see. All right. Oh,
He
can't
muted.
hear you.
Hold on,
Hold on,
he
muted.
muted. He muted.
Okay.
oh yeah, tell him take yourself off of mute.
I'm back.
All right.
There we go.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no
It's all
problem.
good, brother.
This is
It's
just
all
my
good.
way of trying to come back. I'm sorry.
It's listen, it's a lot of TikTok going in there. That's a lot of bandwidth.
That's exactly what it is. Dude, if I went to go throw a camera on there right now, there'd be 6 different girls on 6 different phones doing 6 different TikToks.
Oh man,
Quit
Hey, I'm not gonna
TikToking!
lie. That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh yeah,
It's
Oh,
every
man.
day in my life. That's why I'm bald and got high blood pressure.
All right. All right, Sean. So let me bring the question back up to you
Okay.
because we had a little pettiness from the producer. It says, who cooks better, the 985 or the 318?
Come on, guys. I mean, I've got some great restaurant sponsors, and listen, they can throw down really well, but I mean, you have to go out of your way in the 504 and the 985 to find a bad meal. That's the best. Don't go to a chain restaurant.
You can throw the 337 in there too.
No doubt.
I'm
No doubt. I
being
mean,
337
this
is better
the
than
best
all
eating
of them.
state in the world. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, I would slight lean to South Louisiana, but we got some good places up here. For real.
Facts.
Yeah, you got a couple for real.
251. Yeah. Them pools, man. Them pools, bro.
Hey, listen. I'm a little biased. He got a point though.
Man, look, hey, if you don't use cayenne pepper in your food, I don't want to eat it.
Cayenne pepper. Is
No.
that all you use? Is
No,
that your
I
only
use
seasoning?
cayenne.
Dan?
I'm just saying it gotta have some cayenne in there, not just salt and pepper like they do in the 251. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have some
Wow.
garlic
Oh,
powder,
there's
some onion powder.
shots
You know
fired.
what I'm saying?
Shots
They
fired.
fry their chicken and water in the 251.
Right. They don't
First
even-
of all-
they don't even
first of
season
all-
their crawfish.
First of all, Chris, I know you don't even drink water, so you don't know what water is.
I got water right here.
Hey, that's
Hey.
clear lemonade.
You can still put vodka in a water bottle.
Hey,
Hey, that's true.
I speak from experience. I did it
They
last
did it
night
in
on
high
paper.
school, bro.
I called a fight on pay-per-view last night. First time I've ever called an MMA fight in my life, and I can
Nice.
promise you, it was not water.
yeah.
Hey, Fox, what do you think about that fight last night, man?
The Nunes fight,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see it. I was there was a local fight up here
Okay.
in Monroe at the Monroe Civic Center, our local MMA promotion, and it was on Fight TV. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I was drunk last night. So, but this is the first time anytime I've ever watched MMA, whether I was there or watching on TV, I've always been a couple drinks in. This was the
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
so I was so far out of my element, but it was so much fun. I would definitely do it again. But like going from calling football, basketball, and baseball to MMA, which again, like I like it, but it's not something I watch religiously. It's usually like, oh, big fight, Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey or Daniel Cormier's fighting. Sure, I'll order it. And I'm or McGregor. I'm not somebody who's watching all these that are. I mean, it feels like it's on daily. I'm not that guy. But a lot of fun. I didn't answer your question. I just didn't get a chance to see it. I went from watching that, doing that, coming home, watching SummerSlam. Yeah, I'm a wrestling mark. In fact, I'm taking time away from Ric Flair's last match ever to spend time with you guys. So
Well, we truly appreciate it.
no,
Appreciate it,
I'd
man.
rather do that than watch that 75-year-old man die in the ring. So
Let me. You mentioned calling football, so let's kind of get back on topic here. You called every one of the man's games.
everyone,
How good is Trey Holland?
best running back in the state the last 2 or 3 years, regardless of classification.
Mm.
I'm looking
That's
forward.
no. I don't care who just signed with who. I've seen every single one of these kids' games since the 8th grade. He's the real deal. He is the perfect blend of power and speed. And you've heard me talk about this 1,000 times on my radio show, guys. Go look at his numbers. I don't have it in front of me, but you probably seen. Go look at his 2020 numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said the best in the last 2 or 3 years?
Yes, sir. Regardless of classification, he's been the best
Puka
running back in the
Williams?
state.
How long has he been out?
Puka went in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
No, Puka's been
Puka's been about
Okay.
5 years ago.
yeah.
Okay.
No, in the last 2 or 3
I told
years.
y'all that wasn't water, but go ahead. Sean.
Hey, but Fox, let me
No
ask you
judgment. Yeah.
real quick. So, what's his comparison? I mean, what's his comp?
He's small and compact, like a
Yeah.
Clyde, but I think
Okay.
he's faster. And if you put him at receiver, he's a natural receiver. You put him at safety, he's a great safety guy.
Nice.
I've seen both Mannings play in person. Charles Scott, Randall Mackey was unbelievable. Ruben Rand.
right.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to do this for a long time and see he's in the mix as best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you could say, oh, 3A. He does it against 5A competition. Union plays 2 or 3 5A. I watched him rush for 300 on Washita. But I was going back to his 2020 season. Guys, he put up those historic numbers, and he only played and they made it all the way state championship. He might have played in half the games. He was getting pulled because Union was winning so much at halftime or the third quarter. It could have been worse. His bar was so high last year, and Ant, you've probably heard me share this story 1,000 times. Well, here's 1,001. It was I don't know, 2 games in the season, and I turned to my the color analyst Chris Snell, and I said, Chris, man, Trey had an off night. He goes, man, you're right. He had 180 and 3 touchdowns.
Jeez.
I finally said, like, if it's not a 60-plus yard touchdown, I don't do his calls service anymore. It's like, there goes Trey again. It's just what I'm used to. Guys, there's just some people who have that it factor. He has that it factor. And I think it's going to be why I think he can play early. As I mentioned, he can receive really well. There's times if Union's tied or down late in the ball game and they need to get down the field, and obviously it's you can't run the football, they'll spread him out wide. And listen, more times than not, he's going to make the play. He's a special talent.
Hey, I think this is Chris English from the chat.
Thank
says
you, Chris. Yeah.
320 carries, 2,800,
And that's about 8 full games
and 34 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sean, so one of his flaws, you think, with his size would be blocking in the pass game? Or what you think?
I never said he had a flaw.
Complete player.
Pound for pound, he's the strongest player on the team. Look, guys, I don't hype many people up like this, but he's just that one dude. The size is all. If you haven't seen him play, the things that are going to be a knock is he's small. He is. I mean, he's not the biggest guy out there, but he's strong as an ox. And they'll say the level of competition. He's special. I don't think he's got a flaw. I think he is somebody. I don't think he's going to go in and start right away. But do I expect him to come and contribute? Yes. And I'm telling you, if he wanted to play safety, he could play safety at the next level too. And I'm anxious to see. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Joe Spatafora yet, the head coach of Union. And last year, their starting quarterback, Cole Dyson, went down. He was a senior. And in those games, Trey stepped in and played quarterback. And it wasn't great because, he's a running back, right? But we've seen so many times in the state of Louisiana, and the quarterback play from the high school level is getting considerably better. But what we used to do is you would just take the most talented player and you put him at quarterback and let him do his thing. Well, they did that with Trey, and it makes the most sense. You want the most talented guy to touch the football as much as possible. And the first time they threw him out there, it wasn't pretty. But week 2, week 3, considerably better. Now, obviously, he runs the ball better than he throws, but he did play baseball. He was a great right fielder. He was a great baseball player. He's got a good arm. If you go back to the state championship game against Sterlington, late in that ball game, he threw a deep pass down the left sideline. The ball was originally caught. Replay in the Superdome, not the rest of the regular season. They said he was out of bounds, but that would have set Union up on about the 20-yard line. It was a beautiful throw. This is a long-winded way of saying he may play quarterback this year. If that's the case, I'd naturally expect his numbers to dip a little bit, but I don't know yet. I personally, from a selfish standpoint, I hope they keep him at running back because that's what he's going to play at the next level, but they may put him at quarterback this season. So if you see the numbers drop, that's probably going to be why.
Yeah, and as far as the level of competition, like you said, they played Washita, they played Captain Shreve, with Kendrick Law and
Airline.
He was the better athlete on the field whenever they played against Kendrick Law.
Not even close.
I actually don't think 3A competition is bad as people think. When you look at the team that's competing, you're out in the playoffs.
Well, the people in the state of Louisiana know that because they know about the Madison Preps and the Unions and Sterlington and stuff. But when you got outsiders looking in, they think, 3A, it's not 5A, so he don't play anybody. But
and you mentioned Kendrick Law, and I'm not going to try to hate on the kid because he didn't go to LSU. Personally, I wish he would have, because I saw him last year. He's a talented guy. Was he more talented than Trey? Not even close. And I'll go back to something on that in a minute. But there was a play in that game. I think Trey had an 80-yard touchdown run called back because of a hold, and on that run, he trucked Kendrick Law.
Nice.
To the ground. There's the only time I've watched a game and said Trey's not the best guy out there was and this is what made me think of it. You mentioned Madison Prep. Quincy Wiggins was a man among boys, and Zion Chris,
the quarterback
out of Madison Prep, who ended up signing with Lafayette. That was a very, very talented young man, and I'm going to say underrated. And I know the Raging Cajun has got a good program going right now. I thought that was a guy who could play at a much higher level. But that was the only time I've watched a game and said Trey might not have been the best guy out there today.
So the Lake Charles College Prep from his junior year, I think it was a sophomore year. When they had Citizen, they had another guy too who ended up. They had a couple D1 receivers.
No, they had Solomon. They had a kid, a couple signed with Grambling, a couple signed with Tech. Lake Charles College Prep.
Yeah, they had
Eric Franklin. Yeah. Eric Franklin, who used to be a wide receiver at Louisiana Tech, is the head coach there. I know they got in a bit of trouble last year, so they couldn't make it to the postseason. But that is a talented bunch, loaded with high school. No, Citizen wasn't even on. It wasn't close. It wasn't even close.
I was wondering why they wasn't in the playoffs competing.
Yeah, that's it, because I think they got punished. And Citizen's good, but I mean, you watch. I mean, again, you could say, "Oh, Fox, you got a bias because you call those games," and I'm not going to deny that. But I'm pretty honest too. I kind of have to be in my job. A Citizen's a good player. There was not one point in that game I thought he was better than Trey. In fact, I mean, they were really known for throwing the football. Now the Citizen had a couple big runs, but I was more impressed with their passing game. And I think I want to say their quarterback may have ended up at Grambling, but no, they were a fun team for sure.
But the guy that went to Shroma, I think he was better than Citizen also.
May have been. Was it Moss?
Yeah, Moss. Yeah.
He ended up going to Miami or A&M. Citizen went to Miami. Yeah.
All right. So Chris English put these in here. Says career numbers through his junior year: 923 carries, 7,829 yards, 108 touchdowns. That's 8 yards per carry. 46 receptions, 734 yards, 8 touchdowns.
He's all right.
Let me ask you this.
It's okay.
Since he's played as from 8th grade on, are you worried about wear and tear any with him?
Well, the good thing is, I mean, look what I told you. He sat out a lot of games.
Yeah.
He has gotten a lot of carries. But I think he's kind of that guy that's built for it. Like I said, he's short, but he's stocky. He's compact. I see so much of Clyde, but I think he's faster. And here's the thing, Ant, I do think he's going to be able at LSU where he's not going to be.
Oh, they start TikTok again.
Yeah. You're going to have to use that panoramic gate Wi-Fi, turn the internet off.
Yeah. Hey, there he is. You can't hear you, Sean. All right.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Is this mic muted?
He's muted.
Oh, Pooh, can you unmute his mic?
I can't. He has to unmute himself. All right. There you go.
There we go.
All right, there we go. Did y'all? I was talking about Jaquarius Donald. Did y'all catch that?
We missed that one.
Okay, Jaquarius. One of the reasons Trey's his numbers weren't as big this year, but it goes back to the point you just asked me, Ant, was he shared the backfield with a fullback named Jaquarius Donald, who, I mean, guys, listen, this was nothing fancy. This is I formation, fullback dive, right up the middle, and this kid went for over 1,000 yards. And so that did take a little bit of the wear and tear off. He has for most of the time. He puts up big numbers, but they are such a run-heavy game. There are other people who get to carry the football. So And I think when he gets to LSU, I mean, how many times, even when you have a great back like a Fournette or a Geis or whoever, a Clyde, how many times are you having to do it by yourself? It's usually a running back by committee. And obviously, I think the same thing is going to continue.
Especially with Frank Wilson. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we know you, like you said, you've been doing this for 20 years. So let's focus on, I guess, the last few.
Okay.
Your thoughts between this current staff and the previous staff.
I mean, look, 2019 was maybe the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
And I thought it was such a great story because we throw out coaches get hired and they say dream job, and I want to gag and throw up because everybody says it. I'm like, sorry, man, Ball State ain't everybody's dream job. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And you hear that everywhere. I really do believe Ed Orgeron, this was his dream job. I mean, we all know Louisiana, like, we're talking about down in the boot, man. And he was at the roots. Like, his ass really is a Bayou boy.
Right.
And to see that guy from that culture win a championship, it does not get any better than that. But look, I hate to get in anybody's personal life, but what was the consistent thing that we saw with Ed Orgeron the first couple of years that he had that job? He got off the bus. You see him on the sideline after the game doing the Go Tigers. Who was standing right next to him? It was his wife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Notice what was missing the last couple of years?
Yeah.
And sometimes there is a stabilizing force that we bring in. I don't know why they got into the – well, I might, but, I mean, it's not my job to speculate.
Right.
But long story short, even Mike Detillier, who knew Coach Orgeron for years, his eye got off the ball. It's like he worked his ass off so much to get that championship, and he finally got it, and he forgot. And look, I think that's kind of human nature sometimes, and what separates Saban from other people is Saban is – he never looks happy. You look at him win a championship, and he's like, I'm on to the next one. Well, I mean, I knew O was in trouble last year when he kept referring to 2019. Dude, we love 2019. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You've got to move on. So I think he took his eyes off the ball, and I think a little bit, not just him, but the rest of the staff did that. And look, when you're winning and you do things that Ed Orgeron and Les Miles do, it's funny, right? We love it. It's funny. That's our guy. Well, when you're losing, you become a caricature, and people aren't laughing with you anymore. They're laughing at you.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. It's sad because I liked them both, and they both won championships. But this program, and listen, there's been numerous issues where it felt like, you know, the players had maybe too much power and too much control, and they were too much player coaches. This is one of the most talented rosters in the country, and it has been for a long time. But you know what it needed to be? A little bit buttoned up, a little bit more discipline. Not, you know what? And I know people are laughing at Brian Kelly now in certain ways, and I think it's kind of eye rolling, and it almost feels like people are going out of their way to try to make something out of nothing. But I just think this is the closest. Like you're not going to be Saban until you put up the results that Saban has. But if you get a guy like that, a buttoned up professional program with these players, you could have something really, really special, because I do think Brian Kelly, in a lot of ways, is wired like Nick Saban.
Right. You know what, Fox? If I could also say too, man, it took 20 years for LSU or for the new coaching staff to take down what Saban built 20 years ago, as far as that standard.
Yeah.
And I mean, if BK can come in and do the same thing, man, I think we're gonna be okay.
And I also think you're looking at, there are certain guys that I think if you look at who the character matters, guys. Character matters in the locker room. I'm not telling you they don't want to go out and get the most talented players. Go look at who's got the most 4- and 5-star kids every year. They're usually in the top. Like Alabama, there's a reason they're good every year. They're winning the damn recruiting championship every single season. So that does matter. But you also can just go recruit stars, and the minute crap goes bad, they become bad locker room guys.
Yeah.
And that stuff festers all the way down. I think you're looking at them recruiting a different character kind of player. And that, again, I think that does matter. It might not be the 5-star kid. It might be the 3-star kid, but he's a good kid. They feel like they can develop. And again, I think character matters, and I think that's one of the biggest things that Brian Kelly's looking for in his recruits right now. And also, you mentioned let's go about the staff. The first thing that was brought up was, is it going to be a fit? Well, I had Jerry DiNardo on my show the other day. That dude was from Brooklyn. Saban was from West Virginia. Les Miles was from the Midwest. The only person who quote fit, we just fired. Yep. Okay, so exactly. The only thing that people care about here is what are you putting in your water, or your cayenne pepper? What are you doing with that? And are you going to win football games? That's all they care about. We don't care where you're from. But I thought he did a great job of mixing guys that he's comfortable with, his guys, with guys who are familiar with the state, like a Cortez Hankton, like a Joe Sloan, and more importantly, like the godfather of recruiting in this state, Frank Wilson. So I thought he did a great job of blending the staffs. Again, Sherman Wilson as well. And also, my God, how many people freaking work in the recruiting department right now?
That's a good point, too.
It's crazy.
That's one thing I think he's going to do better than Ed Oderon is hiring a staff, too. I think people want to come coach for him.
And I like Mike Denbrock a lot. I mean, we always remember what we see last year. Like, well, look what they did against Alabama. I was like, well, look who a lot of people look like against Alabama.
They did really good. So
I rewatched that game today.
It was on today.
I rewatched it today, and man, there was some key third down passes where the receiver was open, he just dropped the ball, or they had a good play call, but Will Anderson comes off the edge on and you just left tackle just couldn't do anything with him. But he didn't call a bad game. They just didn't execute.
And look, good on Cincinnati. I absolutely thought they deserved to be there, but these are Cincinnati's athletes, not LSU's.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. Miss Nikki Hughes.
Shout out to Miss Nikki.
Says facts. Stars do not determine character. That is not rated. It's a hard fall when that 4-5 star gets on the field and stars don't matter because everyone was rated. At that point, you have to prove yourself all over again. To her point, I'll say this. And something we know from stories we've heard. The last few years, because of COVID, people hadn't been leaving and going out and viewing talent anyway. They've been looking at tapes or word of mouth about who's rated where. So
yeah,
you're gonna have a lot of
we almost did getting Jack Betts because of it.
Yep, true.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there was guys like AJ Allen. There's plenty
slept
of guys.
on.
Oh my God.
Slept on.
There's plenty of guys.
He should have got an offer, bro.
Yeah, that LSU is going to regret that. AJ Allen might see significant playing time this year for Nebraska. That's a good.
I thought
player.
he probably started. He could have started, well, not started, but got playing time at LSU. I think.
Look, he was that good last. That was very Trey-esque what he did at Neville last year. I mean, he carried that team, and that's a proud tradition. But he got behind Will, and obviously running behind Will Campbell and Lance Hurd helps. But that dude in the open field was pretty special too.
There was times though, as good as Will and Lance are. There were times though when he kind of made sugar
something out of nothing.
Yeah, and he especially that West Monroe game for sure.
Now, Sean, also I got a quick question
up in North Louisiana around it.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I know you up there in North Louisiana. Man, Ant was on Facebook and they did a top 10 Neville players. Shoot, I don't know many Neville players, but I say, man, you got to put him in the top 10 already. One season, he got to. But hey, that's how good I thought the guy was. I know you don't see some good players come through Neville, man. That's just how I felt.
No, Neville has got that was my competition, so I did not hear that or see that. But I'm just kidding, they were, but no, they did a great job with that. No, AJ is definitely in that mix. John Diarse was awesome.
Oh man,
in high school.
Yeah.
Robert Lane was awesome in high school. Robert ended up going to Ole Miss. Unfortunately, he had originally signed or committed to LSU, but they ended up getting Jamarcus Russell instead. Kind of worked out. There's some Neville and West Monroe guys. There's a reason they get so much hype up here is because they do have so much great tradition. And you look at the amount of NFL. I mean, we're not talking about just college players. You want to talk about the amount of NFL players, and I'll throw Rustin in that mix too.
Yeah.
Rustin may have the most impressive mix of NFL players come from there. So yeah, we got 3 great real powerhouses up here in West Monroe, Neville, and Rustin.
I mean, great powerhouse teams. I'm gonna take it back to my days in high school.
Okay.
Bro. I'm gonna take it back to the old days. But how good were those Bastrop teams, man?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I can't say anything about the '98 West Monroe team because I didn't see them live, except for in the Superdome. I can't say anything about the '90 Rustin team. The best team I saw ever live, complete team, 2007 Bastrop Rams knocking heads off.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes. I played against that team, man.
Dude, they were sick.
In the first 5 minutes of the game, I played for Ashback and we was done.
Y'all were good.
And we weren't comparable, bro.
Dude, Randall Mackey was so smooth. I don't know how it did not work at the next level.
They had 3 Division I running backs on their team.
Well, he didn't really get a chance to play quarterback too much at the next level. Yeah. So, well, he did, and now at East Mississippi, he started the whole.
He put up big numbers there.
He started the whole, last chance shoot thing. He kind of started that trend. But if what people don't really remember, he gets all the credit. Him and Ruben, of course, but
D'Angelo Benton.
But look at the line. The guys that had on the Kentavious Aubrey, Josh Downs, D.D. Jones. They had some
good running backs.
They had.
Hey, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, guys. I mean, of course, I think I was a sophomore in high school when we played it. Those guys had gold teeth. One of the guys had a grill in his mouth, bro, and had a grown man beard.
Listen,
that was scary.
Katrina, we weren't checking IDs at that time.
This is nuts. Yeah, that team is very talented, man.
Shout out my man Carter. He
my
said,
God,
Foxy. So if y'all ever get a chance and want to study film breakdown, Carter is the man. He is the absolute.
My
best.
ADD doesn't do that, so that's why I watch Carter.
Exactly.
That Bastrop team was. I ain't gonna.
They were fun.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah,
honestly, you could. I said a story all the time. I went to Bastrop Neville 08, and it was at Bastrop. And during the game, they raffled off an autographed Randall Mackey football. I have never heard of a high school player getting like an autograph raffled off, and then they announced it over the PA system, and he breaks the huddle and is walking to the line like this. Whenever he hears them announce that they're auctioning off his stuff, man, like that, they were different up there, man.
Let me tell you how spoiled they got, because remember they were on like a 3 or 4 year winning streak. Now I know some of them
42-0.
And I think they might have lost to Evangel at home. Maybe. I don't remember who it was, but I remember Brad Bradshaw was still coaching me. Now, remember what this program had just done, right? And Bastrop had sucked. I mean, they were the laughingstock for a long time before Brad Bradshaw did what he did. He called. I talked to him the next week. He goes, got my truck keyed. Because they lost their first game in like 3 years.
Yes, wow, bro.
That's crazy. Hey, but shout out to Coach Bachman and a lot of those guys who came from Bastrop. They're now in my high school as
changed Ash's future. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm so proud. Like, let's be honest. Like, better than anybody, Sentinel football's kind of sucked. Not kind of. They have sucked. But no, he has definitely elevated that program for sure, and should have looked very, very close to winning the state championship a few years ago.
Yeah.
Should have won.
Right. Should have.
Fox. So first of all, thank you for being on.
Of course. Sorry for the problems. Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
I owe y'all.
I'll go ahead. Listen, I'll tell the secret. I know you're on here because you're avoiding TikTok right now.
I have been on TikTok. I have done a few TikTok dances today.
But let me ask you this: expectations for this year's team.
Well, I think they're very talented. Front line. I think LSU's never has an issue. Like we NFL LSU for a reason. LSU's always talented. We got as much talent front line as Bama does, as Georgia does, as anybody.
Yeah.
I think the real issue this year, though, is depth. The depth is not where it needs to be. I do think if everybody can stay healthy, I think they can win 9 to 10 games. I think worst case scenario, 6-6. I personally think best case scenario it's 8-4. It's kind of what my gut tells me, 8-4. But I think the depth is coming. I think they've done a great job already, and I'm so glad they kept Brad Davis because I think he's going to do great things along that line. I am a little bit worried from what I heard about. I'm excited yet worried that I hear a true freshman in Will Campbell's not so much starting. I think he's that talented, but I've heard he's already the leader, and I think that's in one way that says a lot about him. That's also another one. It's like, ooh, are we sure we want a true freshman to go into a room and be a leader like that? But maybe I'm looking way too much into that. Emory Jones, does he come in and play right away? I mean, then you've got two freshmen and talented.
Yeah.
2 freshmen in the SEC. I don't like that for this year, but I think that's great for future years. I think the future is very bright, and I do think this cycle that came through, this 2022 class, by the time they're seniors, if they decide to stay, I do think they're going to be in a playoff.
So what does that say about because you mentioned possibly a freshman being a leader. If you look at Media Day, we had a sophomore go to Media Day and represented very
Besh.
well. Yeah, in Besh. What does that say about not necessarily those players, but the staff that they trust? So it doesn't care, youth, age, if you've got the stuff, they don't, step up and will, give you that opportunity.
Well, and I think this goes back to the character thing we talked about. Like you don't just go to Media Day because you're talented. You go to Media Day. Look, you guys went and saw a bit of it at the SWAC. Now multiply that by 50. And that's the pressure you face at SEC Media Day. They want somebody who is talented, who is a good player that they expect a lot from, but you're representing the university. So you have to be somebody who has got great character. And I think that's why and I had Mike Jones on my show. I know you guys have probably talked to him as well. Mike Jones is a great representative for the LSU brand. I would also say, even though he's not from here, I think he's a great representative for the state. I think he's an extremely, extremely impressive young man. And I'm not talking about anything that has to do with football. But I do think if we're going with a theme tonight, besides me having cheerleaders and TikTok in the back and and losing y'all a couple of times, it is character matters. And I think you're seeing that with Brian Kelly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, Fox, if you ever get a chance to talk to Mike Jones again, the best answer Mike Jones. Listen,
sorry, side note, I did not do that with him. I did not do that.
So we've seen him on Blake's show, and I kind of sent in through the chat a question. The best, what do you want to plan on doing after football? Answer I have ever heard from anybody, professional, college, high school. Mike Jones. Hands down.
Wow.
What do you say?
No, not surprising. He's such a classy.
I have to go back and listen.
Yeah, you had to go back. But
I would not even do it justice.
Yeah, it was very thought. You could tell he had thought it out, and it wasn't something that he was just spitting on the top of his head real quick. He had a plan. He had thought it out before.
Because he pretty much started by telling first of all, by his father and how his father inspired him, and how he wants to use that to inspire others. And it was, like I said, I would never do it justice. It was, the
only thing I can compare it to is I'm not saying this hasn't happened before. It just doesn't happen a lot. Quickly, after the interview, I checked my text messages. It's him saying, "Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it." That might not seem like a lot to some people, but that meant a lot to me. And again, I think that shows his character.
Yeah. Awesome. So, hey,
20 years in the
go ahead, Ant, because I was gonna say, hey, I wouldn't, thank you for staying on this long with.
I enjoyed it, and I promise I'll try to have a much more professional setup if y'all have me back.
All right, let me end on this one. You've been in the game 20 years now, right around. What's the craziest thing that's happened on air in your 20 years?
Okay, do we have time for 3 stories?
Hey, we got.
Go ahead, bro.
The craziest thing that I ever experienced was not on the air, but I was at Eddie Robinson's house the day he died.
Oh, wow.
And I have never met Coach Robinson nor his wife. and here I am and some other media members sitting on his couch with his wife holding my hand, hugging me, saying, "I don't know what I'm going to do without my Eddie." That is one of the more powerful, impactful things I've ever experienced in my job. And I had never met either one of them. And I mean, I left and cried. I was like, golly, that was heavy. Now this is much lighter.
Carter chimes in and says, "Tell the Ruben Randle story."
So, that ties in. Let me give you one more, then I'll get to the Ruben one. The other one was doing a remote. Mm-hmm. Did not know I was talking to a waitress at the restaurant at the time who I had known. And I did not know the mic was live. And I mentioned something about like not having sex for like 6 months. Yeah. Yeah. That was good times. I hope your wife was listening to that episode. Look, here's the thing. I think it was when we were about to get married and we had, I can't believe I'm saying.
Yeah. We get you.
Hold on, Sean. Before you do that, hold on.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
This feels like my sabbatical. Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. So no, I was just like, she's like, "Hey, we're getting married. We should stop for a while." Okay, sure, whatever. All right. When the bear's hungry, he's got to eat, but nobody paid attention to that. So, Ruben Randle story. So I had an interview set up with Ruben Randle like 2 days before signing day. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Like, this got so much pub. Like, I was like, this is gonna be what makes us. So there was so many. I think his final three was down to Oklahoma, LSU, and Bama. Our server crashed 3 times because there were so many people listening.
Oh, wow.
And Ruben forgot he had baseball practice. So he forgot to come on.
Makes sense.
Which, again,
if you know
is the sex story.
Well, if you know Ruben, Ruben Randle, that's not surprising, though, that he forgot he had baseball practice.
And I eventually did get him back, but not that day. And I was like, oh, man, this sucks. But alas, the big guy was looking out for me because Ruben Randle's father called in. And Ruben's dad goes to explain, which really surprised me because D'Angelo Benton was Ruben's teammate at LSU. Mm-hmm. I mean, at Bastrop. And he says on my show, if D'Angelo Benton goes to LSU, Ruben's not going. At the time, D'Angelo was a verbal commit.
Yeah.
And he also called Les Miles a liar on the air.
Wow.
So here I am, a panic rushes over me, and I'm thinking, dear God, Ruben Randle's not going to come to LSU, and it's going to be our fault, and there's going to be people with pitchforks outside this studio, and they are going to kill me. Well, about 20 minutes go by, and our traffic person up front, white as a ghost, she comes running in with the light on. She's like, you need to come here. I'm like, hello, we're on there. She goes, no, you need to come here now. I'm like, all right. So I tell my coach, like, take this. She's like, it's the LSU football office. I'm like, huh? So I'm like, all right. Well, I get a call. I get on the phone like, hey, Sean, this is Emily at Coach Miles's office. I'm like, hi, Emily. She's like, yeah, I don't remember who the receiver coach was, but she said, it might have been the guy who was at UCLA. She goes, so-and-so wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay. I said, it goes, hey, Sean, it's Coach whoever. Can you tell me what happened with Ruben's dad? I'm like, sure. And I start telling the story halfway through. He stops me. Hey, Sean, Coach Miles wants to talk to you. Shit. So this is all why I'm having my show is going on. I'm stuck. So I'm like, hey, Coach. Hey, Sean, how you doing, Coach Miles? Coach, what's up? Here, Ruben's dad called in. Yeah, Coach. Yeah, he did. You mind telling me the story? Yeah, Coach. I start telling the story again. He stops me. Sean, I tell you what. I got all our coaches in here in a meeting room. I'm just going to put you on speaker. Can you tell us what happened?
Wow.
Listen, all I know is this. 2 days later, Ruben Reyna was a Tiger. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in those 2 days, but they worked it out.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Oh man,
That was a good story. I ain't into stories, but I was interested.
I'm a master storyteller.
Chris, how are you a fisherman and don't like stories? That's all y'all do is tell stories.
That must be some boring ass fishing trips.
I can see it now. So ain't biting today. Mhm.
You got a bite? Nope. What about you? Nope.
Man, hey, but
Gotta
Fox,
get it.
man, that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Man, that
Yeah.
story was good, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's gonna be in the book one day.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, you need to write a book on that. I'll
That
buy
was
it.
listen. I've heard so many countless. I was told about a player who got like literally hidden, a basketball player from a school for 2 days. Like recruiting is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
it's
man.
nuts.
So you finna come out with your own meat market book now?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, he froze.
I'm about to say, dang, what did I say to it?
Straight face.
there he is.
Yeah,
Can't hear you now.
the mic.
Unmute your mic, Sean.
Fox a million.
There
Hey,
you go.
that's wild.
Yeah, I don't know if he can hear us.
All right. Can you hear us now, Sean?
He froze again.
He froze again.
Well, I guess we can. Y'all want to shout him out?
I'm gonna have to mute my mic. My wash machine keep making noises.
All right. Sean, I think we've lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, exactly what got
Hey,
him.
we're gonna blame TikTok, god dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But hey, I know I don't think he can hear us, but when we go back and watch it, Sean, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you for the advice and everything. Look forward to having you on. Open invite. You can come back and tell us some more stories.
It's,
Right now, we're
appreciate it,
talking to
brother.
a still face.
All right.
He just texted me. It's all good, bro.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Sean Fox.